Alright, let's get started. So, hey guys, Code Talks here, and today I have planned, a little intro video to Arduino, and I know I have my feet in a lot of different playlists, like that machine learning one, maybe even continue the tic-tac-toe one, but why not start another one? Cause, I don't know, why not? So, today I have, as you can see, an Arduino series. And this is going to be an intro video talking about, how the board works. And then if we have some time, which we probably will, we'll fire up an LED. And yeah, so let's get started. So I found this picture. I'll put the link in the description to the website. It's really good at explaining where all the parts are and what everything is. So you could read this as we're going, but I want to go in depth of each pin, the important pins that we'll be using, and then we'll cover more as we go in this series. So the first most important thing on this board is your USB programming port, as you can see. Um, in the video, we will in this playlist, we'll be supplying power and data through this port like a lot of the time. And I have plans to interface the Arduino with like a Python scripts and things like that. So yeah, stay tuned. But this is where you're gonna plug in your little USB. I'll show you right now. So you can see this little thing to program. That's where you're gonna plug that in. Um, Going back to the schematic, we could see that you have your digital pins on the right, your power pins, and your analog input pins. So the power pins, you have your V in. We're probably not going to use that for a little bit, but that is just voltage input. But it can also, um, no, what am I saying? It's voltage input V in. And then you have ground over here. So you're basically, ground is basically interchangeable for negative. So all your positive, all your current and voltages that you want to ground them, because that's just how a circuit works. It's like a flow. And then you have your 5-volt output, your 3.3 volts output. Analog in, we'll worry about that in a bit. And then you have your digital output pins. So, well, they can take input as well. So you have all these pins, and you can see there's these little tilde or hyphen signs, and these are basically pins that can. These are pins that you can. What's the word? You have digital, and then you have. I'll show you right now. You have digital, and where is it? Examples. I just want to look at what the word is so I don't lie to anyone. So it's under the fade sketch. You can see in the examples, and it is. Let me just check it out real quick. Analog right. So, oh no, that's not even. No, that's literally not the wrong word. I remember what they're called now. They are called Pwm pins, and what PWM stands for is pulse width modulation, and that allows you to output different amounts of current, and I'll show you why that's useful. Um, it's useful in the fade sketch, but the fade sketch uses a command that's doesn't exactly say PWM, so I wanted to mention that. Then you have your RxTX for like Bluetooth, and you have another ground pin above 13. So yeah, that's pretty much it for like explaining the board, and let's we're at 5 minutes, so let's fire up a LED really quickly. So that's not, I want to go to the board. So how we're gonna do this is, for this you're gonna basically need a LED. So I'm just gonna use a red one right here. You're gonna need, I think 2 wires should be sufficient. So I'm gonna grab a red wire and a black wire. You know what? I'm gonna ask you guys to bring 3 wires. So I'm gonna use 2 red and 1 black wire. Just, I want to show something. And you're gonna need a 220 ohm resistor. You could probably get away with about anything up to like 300, but you don't want to go below 220 ohms because you'll start blowing light bulbs, and you don't want that. You don't want them to explode and things like that. So let me just get the right resistor. Probably should have been a little more prepared, but that's okay. I think found it right here. Right here. So a lot of you might have those yellowish beigeish resistors, but this is the same thing. Is this a 220 ohm? I think so. You know what? It doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters, but it's like 220 ohm to 330. It should be good. So how we're gonna do this is we're gonna first take a red wire to represent, positive, and we're gonna plug that into our 5-volt pin. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 4th pin. Okay. And then what we are gonna do is we're gonna take this black wire and we're gonna plug it into a ground. So any one of the 3 grounds will work, and we'll plug that into our breadboard. Oh, I just realized I didn't even explain how the breadboard works. So, as you can see, I have this little base, which I have everything on. But how the breadboard works is these on the sides are power rails. So, basically how power rails work is once you put in power at, like, let's say in this positive rail, the whole rail will be powered, and same goes for negative, right? So if you put ground over here in the negative pin, the whole rail will be ground. And then these are called terminal strips. So terminal strips basically allow you to do the following is, let's say you plug in 5 volts into that, the whole row will be 5 volts. Instead of going across, it'll be rows, and you'll see that in action in a little bit. So we plugged in 5 volts, and now what we're going to do, the reason we're going to use like 1 or 2 extra wires is because this is really, the basis of every single circuit you're going to build in Arduino, just powering the rails properly. So yeah, now we're just going to plug in our LED, and we're basically, before, we're going to take a look at the prongs, I guess. And the longer pin is positive and the shorter is negative. So we're going to want to remember that. So really anywhere on your board is fine. Okay. Just make sure they're both not in the same. So I just want to tilt it so you guys can see. And you want to, I said look at it, but I didn't. So the long pin and the short pin. So the longer pin for me is over here. And I'm going to plug it into here. And here's the part where you might think you're going to need another wire. Well, resistors are basically like wires, just they're wires with resistance. So you can kind of just like carry this resistor right here into the negative rail. And now this LED, once I plug this cable into my computer, it should light up. And it's not lighting up because, did I do this backwards? No, I think the resistance might be too high, or this might not be a functioning LED. I definitely didn't plug it in backwards. Just gonna try a different LED. Oh, it's not working because I plugged in the positive, the 5 positive into the negative power rail. So yeah, don't do that. Alright, I'm just gonna plug in a blue LED because we already had some bad luck with the red LED, and you can see that the blue LED is lit up. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But before I end the video, I'm just gonna show you some quick code um, that will allow you to, light up LEDs. So we'll just unplug our whole Arduino real quick, and we're gonna do some rewiring. So instead of the red pin, instead of this wire and this wire, we're gonna remove the two red wires, and you're probably gonna want a longer wire. I'm just gonna take this big white wire, and we're gonna go to pin 13. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and we're gonna plug it into the positive. So we're plugging in the LED into a digital pin. So now the digital pin is gonna serve as the input, but we still have the ground pin and resistor to the ground. So now what we're gonna do, you're gonna quickly want to go to Arduino, like the IDE, and you're definitely gonna want to download that if you don't have it, and let's write some code. So first we're gonna create a variable called LED, so int LED, and then we're gonna write what pin it's on. And this is just better for code readability. You don't really need to make the variables, but again, code makes more readable. Then you want to use this pin mode command. And again, I'm going to explain these a bit more in the next video, but I just want to leave you guys with some code. You can experiment with some stuff before the end of this video. So pin mode, and then you're going to write what LED, and then what the pin mode is going to do. So it's an output. Alright, and you're going to make sure to put semicolons. And then what we can do is we are going to just light up the LED. So we can do digital write, and you can see these keywords or functions or whatever they are highlight in orange once you write. So you're just going to do digital write LED. So we defined what type of pin it is, and then high. High means turn on and low means turn off. So we could put a little bit of a delay. I think it's milliseconds, so we'll do 100. We'll do 100 milliseconds, and then we'll do digital write. Digital write LED low, and then we will wait 1 second. And we're gonna need a semicolon. Okay, so basically how this sketch works is we're declaring a LED a variable called LED, setting it to 13. Then in the void setup method, and setup basically runs once, and it runs as soon as the Arduino is turned on, and we're setting this LED or 13. We're setting the pin 13, the digital pin 13, as an output pin. And then we're going in the loop method, which keeps looping and iterating over and over during the duration of, while it's turned on. And we're turning it on, waiting a second, and then turning it off and waiting a second. So if we plug in our Arduino, I already have it set up to COM5, but if you don't, you should go set up the correct board and select the right COM port, and then what you're going to do is click here, and then it's going to ask you to save. And then I'm just going to save mine as YouTube tutorial when the prompt comes up. And the prompt has come up over here, so I'm just going to drag it over here. YouTube. Just call it YouTube. And it's going to upload. It may take some time because it's your first sketch, and I don't think it has any errors. Shouldn't have any errors. And it's uploading, and it's uploading. I'm just gonna uploading. So I'm just gonna show you over here in this corner over here, there was a green bar, and you'll see around here that you have, it's uploaded. So I'm just gonna put this back in place, and you can see that if we go to our board, that it is blinking, sure enough, with our sketch. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm new to these kind of flipping back and forth between editors and things like that. So just give me some feedback in the comment section down below if you have any ideas of how to make this even more smoother. But yeah, thanks for watching.